US Biolabs in Ukraine. Welcome to Awakening to the Truth.
A little bit of an update on Russia and Ukraine. A little video I come across the other day, so I thought I would upload this just in case anybody hasn't seen this. This is to do with the biolabs that I discussed in a previous video. Watch this and see what you think.
Russia has made verifiable claims that the U.S. is running secret biological weapons labs around their borders. And while Western media now claims this to be misinformation, back in 2013, they reported on it. While the United States and Murder Incorporated have been waging illegal wars all across the world in the name of democracy, Russia has been quietly selling energy and minding their own business. And according to National Geographic, this was the reason why the Pentagon was building these bioweapons labs in the first place, because Russia was entirely quiet on the subject and the U.S. wanted to get ahead of them. The initial biolab in Kazakhstan was built by the U.S. for $100 million to store high-risk diseases such as plague and anthrax, and was hoping to attract scientists who might otherwise create biological weapons of mass destruction for someone else. In order to keep the world safe, the U.S. has since built several labs in Kazakhstan. Most recently, a biosafety level 4 lab to be completed in early 2022. As early as 2004, the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA, began creating a network of labs for infectious diseases in Uzbekistan. And within a few years after operations began, outbreaks of unknown diseases were reported in the same areas as the labs. In Georgia, leaked documents show that the U.S. Embassy has been transporting deadly pathogens and human blood as diplomatic cargo in a scheme where private U.S. contractors working for 3 different U.S. labs have been given diplomatic immunity to do so. Shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine, At War Clandestine released a video with maps of U.S. labs matching up with maps of the recent attack, suggesting that Russia was securing these top-secret labs. Western media claims this is false, but fails to debunk it. And once the video goes viral, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine is caught deleting evidence of these labs from their website, but not before an independent journalist was able to copy documents showing 11 Ukrainian labs funded by the Pentagon. The Russian embassy to Bosnia has accused the U.S. of filling Ukraine with labs, which were very possibly used to study methods for destroying the Russian people at the genetic level. And we now know that these so-called mRNA vaccines are destroying people at the genetic level. We now officially know that COVID-19 is a man-made. We know that it was funded by elements of the NIH and Peter Daszak's EcoHealth Alliance. We know that it was made in China. And so what isn't threatening about the U.S. encircling Russia with top-secret labs? And who on earth thinks it's a coincidence that everyone involved in the United Nations Great Reset are now the Ukraine's greatest allies of all time? The mercenaries and war profiteers in America are getting excited about making short-term profits off the dead. But the only ones who will benefit from this war are the crooks at the top, who have been caught committing the most heinous crime against humanity in all of recorded history. And the only righteous way out of this is to hold these crooks accountable.
The American Embassy in Ukraine on Saturday removed all documents about Pentagon-financed biolabs in Ukraine from its websites. This is what investigative journalist Dilyana writes on social media. Embassy staff forgot to remove a document showing that the Pentagon is funding 2 new biolabs in Kyiv and Odessa. Ukraine has no control over the military biolabs. The Ukrainian government is not allowed to release this sensitive information to the public. One of the labs is located in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. In January 2016, at least 20 Ukrainian soldiers died there in 2 days from a flu-like virus. Another 200 soldiers were hospitalized. The Ukrainian government did not provide details of how the soldiers died. Hepatitis A broke out in 2018 under suspicious circumstances in southeastern Ukraine, where a number of biolabs are also located. In January 2018, 37 people were hospitalized with hepatitis A in the city of Myakov. The police have launched an investigation in the same city. More than 100 people became infected with cholera in 2015. In summer of 2017, 60 people were hospitalized for hepatitis A in the city of Zaporizhia. In June 2017, 19 children from an orphanage were hospitalized from hepatitis A. In November of that year, cases of hepatitis A were also reported in Kharkiv. The United States and Ukraine jointly established a Science and Technology Center in Ukraine over the past 20 years. The STCU has invested $285 million in some 1,850 projects carried out by scientists who previously worked on the development of weapons of mass destruction, the investigative journalist found. The documents are also available on this website. These are the documents that the US Embassy does not want you to see, according to the journalist. However, they forgot to delete this document from the register of US federal contracts, which shows that the Pentagon is funding 2 new biolabs in Kyiv and Odessa, writes the journalist. All documents and references have since been secured on this website. Well, that report was by Dilyana Gaytandzhieva, who apologise if some of my Russian phrases weren't quite right in pronouncing some of the capitals there. I do apologise for that. Now, I hope you found this video of some interest and to open your mind just that little bit more, that there could be a little bit more truth to what's actually going on with Russia and Ukraine. Remember, keep a level head, keep an open mind, and keep on awakening to the truth.
Awakening to the truth.